Oh, we're live. Wait, it's going.
Yeah.
The countdown just kind of stopped on my screen for some reason then. But yes, hello and welcome to 92-Bit Gamers. I'm your host, Mark, from YouTube channel Modern Tech, and I am with my co-host, Lewis. And sorry, the system of weekly episodes has gone downhill very, very fast. This is only episode 3, and everything went crazy. The first week, Lewis's laptop died. Second week, you had your charger left at my house after I fixed your laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And the third week, I was really ill. So I'm assuming we're on 4th week at this point. But yes, we're back and we are here. We're going to try and do fortnightly episodes instead of weekly episodes, because weekly, it just seems very unachievable with our busy lives. But yeah, we're here and we're back and we're ready to start. The biggest news that has happened recently, what we've completely missed on our previous podcast, because we mentioned it in the end of the last one, is the PlayStation Showcase and the Xbox Summer Game Showcase. Those have happened, and we're going to dive into that. So, Lewis, which one's your favourite?
I did prefer the Xbox Showcase. I think there was a lot more games on there that I would play and that I would enjoy. Like, for example, there was Fable. They showed a new Star Wars game. At the end of it, they showed that Starfield had a 50-minute thing on it. But PlayStation did have its winners as well. Like PlayStation, right at the end, it had Spider-Man. It showed out Helldivers, which is actually, I personally quite like Helldivers. It's a good little arcade style thing. What else did they have on? They showed the VR2, some games for the VR2 as well that'll be on there. Resident Evil 4 Remake is getting a VR version of it. That was on the showcase. On the PS Showcase, one of the games I'm really looking forward to since the trailer, Dragon's Dogma 2. I played the first Dragon's Dogma loads. It's fantasy type magic and stuff like that. And they said another one's coming out. It's got a really big cult following. So I'm glad that they're showing a trailer for another one's coming out. I was surprised to see Alan Wake 2 on the PlayStation Showcase, because I always thought it was a Microsoft and Xbox exclusive. So I was surprised to see that it was on the PlayStation Showcase instead of the Xbox Showcase. And then we saw PlayStation trying to do its own version of Splatoon with foam stars, which was
honestly, when I seen that, I was watching it. It's like, okay, my kind of first thoughts, I made notes when I was watching it. First thoughts when that foam stars came up was, I was like, oh, is this Final Fantasy? And I was like, oh no, it's kind of giving me an Overwatch vibe. I was like, Final Fantasy, Overwatch, what's going on? And then the foam went everywhere. I was like, oh, Splatoon. PlayStation
Pretty
Splatoon.
much. Pretty much, yeah.
That was just 100% straight off rip off. But if a model works, if you can't beat him, join
look at all of
the Battle Royale games.
Battle Royale games that came out over the last couple of years. First, it was, I don't know what was first, but it was either
PUBG.
I think it was PUBG, but there might have been one before that. But then after PUBG, it went massive. Fortnite gave up on their normal game mode and just went to a Battle Royale mode. Call of Duty started picking it up for their online modes, and then other games have brought in little similar bits as well. So it went massive, didn't it? So we'll see what happens.
I was always interested in playing the Battle Royale on Black Ops 3, I believe it was. I never actually played it. I played the game, but I'd never played the Battle Royale mode. I can't remember what it was called.
I didn't even play. I didn't play the game or the Battle Royale mode.
It's a shame because obviously they've missed. They look like they had something pretty decent there, but they've missed it with not having the free to play. Warzone was obviously Warzone because it was free to play, and COVID lockdown. It was just what a time.
It was a good time for it to come up, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it was the perfect time. Obviously, we
kept us sane, didn't it?
Well, yeah, sane and insane at the same time. It's driving us mad. So we'll talk about what came first. The PlayStation Showcase came first. We'll kind of skim over that a little bit first, and we'll kind of we'll go to, we'll see what some of the highlights were. For me personally, the biggest highlight was Metal Gear Solid Remake. It was when I was watching the trailer, I went to watch him. I was kind of making notes throughout the whole time. I was like, okay, frog, animal, circle of life. There was like different animals coming all over the place, and then what was it, like a snake eating?
A snake ate the frog, and then it panned out a bit more, and then into the forest, and then Snake just stood up, like he came
It
from
was just like
behind
snake in the background. But as soon as that bit, like even my notes was like snake, 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 snake. I was just so excited. I was over the moon for that. I'm super glad to see Metal Gear coming back, and even the fact that they're bringing out the older ones as well for the newer consoles. I know they had the HD collection on the 360 and the PlayStation 3,
That
but
was
that's the
Sons of
last
Liberty
thing we've
and
had it on.
Metal Gear and Snake Eater, wasn't it?
Yeah, from my understanding, that's not on the backwards compatible list. I don't know if it is.
It is not. It is. I've played it recently.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I say recently. I installed it, turned it on, and thought this is going to take too much of my time, and turned it back off.
Not got it in me. But yeah, no. It was a good game. The HD collection was good, and it's nice to see it actually coming back again. Bit disappointingly that the HD collection was only the 2 and 3, and number 1 is just going to be the regular PS1 graphics. Number 1 that we usually have. I'm sure at some point in life they'll remake that, won't they?
If we wait, you never know. They might do what they're doing with the Final Fantasy stuff. So with the Final Fantasy remake they did with number 7, they rebooted it, changed the gameplay style slightly changed the story, but they brought it up from an old style of gameplay and look to today times. They might do the similar thing with Metal Gear, because Kojima's not involved in the Metal Gear games anymore, so they can't make a new decent story as we saw with 5 without Kojima. So they'll just have to remake the old ones. But what they could do is even though I played the games, I still can't follow the story well. So what they might do is they might reboot it in chronological order, because obviously when you play them and you play it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the little ones in between, the actual story starts with 3, doesn't it? Yeah. Snake Eater is the first one in the story, and I think that's why they might be remaking that one first, or it might have been a fan favourite. More people might have liked Snake Eater more than the other ones. Don't know yet, but if they reboot it, because it's not called 3, is it? They're calling it or 3 remake or anything. They're calling it Delta, aren't they?
I know it's called Delta, but I'm not sure if it does actually say 3. Let me have a quick gander. Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. Let me have a look. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So yeah, no, it's not Metal Gear 3.
So it just says Metal Gear Snake Eater Delta.
Which it does kind of put it in a good place to start it off, because like you said, you can't follow the story. I know what most of the problem and most people have with the story as well is there's Snake and there's Big Boss, and obviously the games
there's Snake, there's Big Boss, there's Liquid Snake, there's Solid Snake, and if you play the games and there's videos on it if you ever want to look it up, it'll explain the story and who's who and why there's so many snakes and stuff like that. But if they did a remake and it starts with this Delta version where Snake Eater is the first because he starts as Snake, and then this isn't a spoiler because the game's been out a long time. You kill Big Boss at the end. You kill Boss at the end, and then Snake becomes Big Boss, and then the other snakes, from what I understand, are clones of Big Boss. Yeah. And then that's as far as I'm following it, and then
it's as far-fetched as it sounds. Yeah,
where if they do the story in order, if they remake more than just Snake Eater, they can do the story a bit more where people can follow it if they want to.
Yeah, if they were going to do the story after that, they'd have to do Metal Gear Solid 1 straight afterwards.
Isn't it 3, 1, 2, 4, 5? That's with Peace Walker somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't even know where 5 even kind of comes in. That's it seems like its own. Like obviously, okay, it will be at the end technically, but it has no relevance to anything. 5 was
It's got no, it doesn't. The only
story wise.
relevance it
5
had
was
was that
such a letdown.
Ocelot was in it for about half an hour. That's it, innit?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That was the biggest kind of reveal. They shown Assassin's Creed Mirage as well. Do you have any thoughts
It
on that?
looks. So I'm a big Assassin's Creed player, and from the trailer, you play as Basim, which is a character in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. He turns up and helps you in the Valhalla story. And I guess from the trailer, it's Basim's story when he's in like Jerusalem and stuff again. However, we've already had a game in Jerusalem. That's basically what Assassin's Creed One was. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, and then we even had the Egyptian one. We had Origins, so we're not really getting a new scenery. We're not. We're
Well, because
having it like a rehash.
well, because Assassin's Creed 1 is so old, do you not think that this is their time to kind of redo this Jerusalem one? Because a lot of people, especially newer people to the series, are not going to play Assassin's Creed 1 anymore because it is hard to play. It's too dated now compared to the
Yeah,
cool
I get
mechanics
that.
of Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Um, which I prefer. I think that's a massive upgrade. Since Origins came out, I thought that was a game changer.
It
And
was a more RPG rather than an arcade fighting game where
yeah,
all you had to do was counter all the time. Where at least now with the newer ones, it's more of a fight rather than a where you just counter everything.
yeah, I did enjoy the old ones to a degree, but it did get boring. Black Flag was good for the story and like the whole scenery.
Piratey
That
thing.
was yeah, and obviously the ship battles was really good. Um, but other than that, the whole stealth like trailing people without being spotted, it's just that was super boring to me. But now we've got like a proper actual. If you're going up against an enemy who's 2 levels higher than you, you better be prepared because once you see that red number above their head, you know
You
they ain't
gotta be
going down
careful. Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna stealth kill him, and they're gonna turn around and deck you. It's it's just not gonna happen. So it's interesting to see, but I'm not overly excited for it. I don't really care, like you said, because we've been there before. We've done that. All these OG kind of Assassin's Creed players are probably a bit meh by this point with that. But for newer players to the series, it would probably be quite nice to see what the Jerusalem side had.
It might even
You,
have some cameos. It depends on what year it's set in, because of the first one in Altair's story is set in a set time, and then depending on what year this one is set in, they might be years apart, or they might be similar, and you might see cameos of some characters that were
that'll
in
be
the first
cool.
one.
Yeah, chilling with Altair. That'll
Yeah,
be that'll be quite nice. You mentioned before Alan Wake 2. You were surprised. You were surprised to see that. Did you play the first Alan Wake?
I played bits of it, like it was one of them where I put it in the console because I was just like, oh yeah, this looks quite good. And then when I started playing it, I was enjoying it, and I got to a certain point. But then, like loads of times, what happens is a new game will come out, and I'll buy the new game, and I'll play that, and I'll forget that I was playing something else.
I've got a few games on my list to like that at the minute. To be fair, like even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that's on there, and I really want to play it. I've still got it installed, and I've played it. The last time I played it probably about 5 months ago, and yeah, I really want to get into it, but I can't because I'm playing other games, and at the minute I'm playing Need for
Well,
Speed
that's why I
Unbound.
started doing my list of
Yeah.
completing games this year. I added two more. I had two more last week.
So how many are you up to then? How many
Let's have a
games have you
look.
completed this year? The date
One, two,
is
three, four,
well, it's
five, six, seven, eight, nine.
the mid of the year at the moment. 9 games,
Well,
not bad.
we're 6 months into the year, and I've finished
Yeah,
9 games. So
that's
I'm
all
doing better than one a month for now.
right. Bear in mind,
I'm
people,
close.
this is a working man as well.
No,
He's
man.
actually got a life, kind of.
I don't have a lot of time. Work and then my medical treatment. I
No,
can't
no,
game all
God,
the
yeah.
time.
Busy, busy bee. And as for Alan Wake 2, sorry, just while we're on it quickly, what did you think that looked like to you? Like, I've never played Alan Wake 1, so I know it's supposed to be a bit of a horror game
It's
and it does look
it's a
scary,
horror
but
it's a horror thriller game, but that one, the trailer made it look more like a detective murder mystery game.
I thought that,
Um,
but then I was like, oh, this looks quite interesting. I could probably get quite engrossed in this. And then
mhm.
when the monsters kind of come into it, I was like, nope, nope, no, I'm not a horror guy. That's scary shit for me. That's a bit more, a bit much for me. But I did like the
and
fact
then
that, yeah, go on. Sorry, what were you saying?
go on. I was going to say, like, I don't usually do horror games. It depends on how horror it is. So, for example, I won't play Resident Evil 7 and 8, but I'll play the earlier Resident Evil games. They
Yeah,
turn.
I
Do you
get
get what
you.
I mean? That
I
yeah.
catch your drift on that. And let's talk quickly about a brand new game which you've just told me beforehand, which you've been absolutely smashing all week on the PlayStation 5. And what game is that there, Lewis?
It's a Final Fantasy 16.
And how you finding it? Obviously, that's
I
just come
think
out
it's
and it's
really
very
good.
fresh.
I think it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Um, it depends. Final Fantasy fans are mixed on it because it's not how games used to play. People always think Final Fantasy games are like turn-based or more like tactical ones,
I feel
but
that's a
this is
bit
more.
long outdated now, isn't it? The turn based.
Ever since
It's
15 wasn't, but then like 13 backwards were.
yeah.
It's more tactical. This one feels like Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy made a game together. It's more combat focused. It plays a lot like a Devil May Cry game. When I actually looked into it, someone did say that the combat team from the Devil May Cry games had helped make this one, which that makes a lot of sense after playing
Oh,
it.
nice. Is it
I
graphically
didn't
really good
expect
when you play him?
the graphics are really good. Yeah, like the Final Fantasy are known for quite good cutscenes.
Yeah, they're beautiful,
Um,
aren't they?
where this one, it looks nice through the whole thing. So like a lot of the time, the cutscene finishes and then it draws back. As the cutscene finishes, it draws back on your character, and then rather than a cut, you just
I
start
love
walking.
that. Yeah, seamless, and then you kind of it takes you a second to realize that the cutscene's ended and you can move. I love it. Sorry, it's just started hammering it down right now outside the window. Yeah, so that looks
Yeah,
quite good. And and you said, well, I'm sure you told me before that you've nearly completed it. Well, you feel you've nearly completed it.
yeah. So as you go along, you do different parts of the map as you go through the story. And I'm sort of like on the part of the map that I haven't touched yet, and it feels like as I'm going through the story, it is coming not to the. I've probably got another few hours left. No, I'm not in the final battle type thing, but I'm definitely on our last like part of the game. Like I'm level 43.
Oh, is that it on the background there? You can see on your screen.
Yeah, but I was playing it, waiting for you to start this, so I just paused it. So
As
so
soon as it ends,
I'm level
straight back in.
43. So yeah.
So how do you feel Square Enix have actually done with a new game release? Because obviously most companies these days, like we've seen with Redfall, it was a lot of games come out. Even Jedi Survivors come out and it's buggy. Every game that's coming out recently is buggy. Do you think Square Enix have managed to do well on this end?
Well, they posted that this game hasn't even had a day one patch. It came out finished.
Oh,
There was
good.
no day one patch or anything. It come out finished.
Seems very rare
Um,
these days.
if you wanna play it, Mark, the demo's still on PlayStation, free to play. You play the beginning couple of hours of the game to set you up.
Yeah, I might have to give it a go at some point. I'm still slowly but surely tackling Ghost of Tsushima while I was ill all last week because I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't focus on much, and every now and again I was like, right, I need to do something. I was just getting fevers all the time, so I sat down and I tried to play a game, and I could play one mission of Ghost of Tsushima, and then that was it, call it a day. And then the day later, I did another mission and called it a day. But I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't focus on out. But it's on my to-do list. It's there, and I'm enjoying it. I want to get back to it.
I was hoping for a Ghost of Tsushima too,
Yeah.
trailer, but we didn't get one. We did get something similar though. We got Phantom Blade Zero, which is that sort of like, it's not samurai though, but it's set in China. That it looks like.
That does look good. We were talking about that briefly before. I reviewed a game on my channel a few months back called Bloody Spell, which is a game nobody's ever heard of before on Steam, and it was watching this game. It looked very similar, except from like a very updated version of that, and that was a good game. That was a kind of a Devil May Cry gameplay style thing with a beautiful scenery. And this looks better because they look like they have like more in-depth combat where it's on the trailer. I'm sure it's showing him fighting about 3 guys at once, and he was like blocking swords left and right. And
yeah.
So I don't know whether that was like kind of an inside look
It
of
felt like
a gameplay, or whether it's a cutscene. I don't know.
I'm hoping it was gameplay, because then what I'm hoping is we don't get a Dark Souls type game again, because they tried to do it in Sekiro. I'm sick of him. I really wanted to play Sekiro, but then it was more Dark Souls style gameplay rather than ninja style gameplay, and I didn't like it. Like, even with this sounds silly, but considering I finished it, even the Star Wars games recently, like Survivor, people said it was Souls style but it's not anymore. I think they took that out of it. The only part of it that felt like it was Soul style was the fact that you died and you had to go back and get your experience points. That was the only thing that was Souls like out of the new one.
I did feel the same. I haven't played the new one, but with Fallen Order, I did feel like a similar thing where it wasn't as Souls-like as people were kind of mentioning it as, which to me, the Souls-like aspect was the reason I didn't bother playing it, because I do like Souls-like games and I do enjoy them, but you have to get into it and you have to kind of commit to it. And when you stop playing it and play something else, it's so hard to get back into because there's so many of them. You kind of, for me personally, I always mix them up in my head. Like, I really love Dark Souls 3 and I can play that anytime, but when I go to play Elden Ring, I've got Dark Souls 3 in my head, and there was a bit of a difference, so I can't really go back to Elden Ring, and I've never completed it. I feel like I was close to the end, and I do need to tackle it at some point, but it just feels like a chore at this point.
I don't think I'll ever finish Elden Ring.
No, there was a seamless co-op mod on PC, which is what I ended up, because I started playing my game anyway. I had my whole playthrough, which I was nearly completed. Then I started playing the seamless co-op mod with Jake, which made it really fun because it was just a full-on co-op game at that point. But they had an update which taken that down, and now it's very version dependent. So it's very annoying because if I want to get the updated version, I'd have to do that. But then when a new update comes out, which the DLC is coming out, so there's gonna be an update, then it'll take away the seamless mod. And I just can't bother messing around, so I'm gonna wait a while. Maybe after a few years, and I'll probably play through it on co-op with probably Jake again, because it was quite fun, and we'll eventually tackle it. Oh, so just a side note, actually, I just realised I've got my ROG Ally in the background there. That's my brand new console, the Asus ROG Ally. I've finally got one, and I'm going to be truthfully honest, I've not had a chance to even play it properly. I've played Gears of War on it for about an hour, if that, and it was good. It worked great, but I've just not even had the chance. I've been ill the majority of the time, and it's kind of made me feel sick even looking at a screen. But I'm hoping to tackle it and post on more videos on my my Steam Deck Performance channel, which is no longer a Steam Deck Performance channel. It's now a handheld performance channel because I'm going to do the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck videos on that. So if anybody is interested in performance, please check that out. I'll leave the link in the description to this video. If you listen to the audio version, it'll be handheld performance on YouTube, so you can go check it out there. So I can't really give you any more information on the Rogue Ally because I don't know much about it at the moment because I've been ill. I've not even had a chance to look at it, but I've got it. It's there, and information will be coming, and a review will probably be coming at some point. Back to the showcases. Anything else? So we had the Foam Stars.
Their big one at the end was obviously Spider-Man. Right at the end, they've shown a full gameplay trailer of Spider-Man.
Oh, that does look good though. It does. I've not. You know what? I've played Miles Morales. I loved it. I even reviewed that, and I give it a very high score. In fact, I've given the highest score of any game I've ever reviewed was Miles Morales. But I've not played the original one properly. I played a little bit of it on the PlayStation 4, but I think I'll get it on PC at some point and go through it before playing through the second.
You should be able to get it. You should be able to play it. You've got your 5 on now. You should play it on that.
Well, yeah,
it should be on the pass. You've got the pass.
It is on the pass. The PlayStation 4 version is on the pass, but not the PlayStation 5 version, which is a bit of a letdown because if I'm playing a PS5, I want to play a PS5 game, not a PS4 game.
Sure
so yeah, that's a bit of a shame. No, it's not. I checked recently anyway, like about a week ago.
Is it not the Game of the Year one you need to download?
There's two versions. One says PS4 next to it, and like a little black PS4 logo.
Yeah,
one says
PS5.
The PS4 one is obviously included with the Plus Extra, and then the PS5 one is like 70 quid or something. So yeah, there's no point because I can get it on PC for about 20 quid. I'll tackle it at some point. But speaking of this new one, it does look really good. I liked the fact that throughout the gameplay that it did showcase, it's shown, you can play the two playable characters, Miles Morales and Peter Parker, but the way Peter Parker was kind of battling with the Venom symbiote inside of him, it was good. It just shown him like in his regular combat, but he was getting super angry at everything, and obviously that's not Peter Parker. Peter Parker is not that guy.
No, he's quite a chill guy, isn't he?
Yeah, and even towards the end of the trailer, Miles was kind of caught off. Like, what's going on with Pete? Like, what is going on?
But he was starting to get worried about him.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that looks really good.
Do you know what I mean? I saw it the other day, and this is why I'm bringing it up. There's been movie trailers out now for Kraven the Hunter, as in like the Spider-Man villain.
I've watched that
getting a movie.
Well, yeah,
he's getting a movie, good. And I don't know how many. If people are obviously Spider-Man fans should know who he is, but it's good that he'll be in a game. They'll be in a game as well as the new movie, like a movie about him.
I didn't actually know who he was. So at the start of the trailer of the Spider-Man 2, they actually shown, that's how they introduced it. They shown like a scene with Kraven and his little soldiers and stuff going around in a jungle. I can't remember it too much. I've got a bit of vivid memory here, but I did not know it was Spider-Man until they kind of got into the Spidey kind of like universe bit. So are you a fan of the Kraven? Did you know who he was when the trailer was on straight away?
Not straight away, because it wasn't him first. It was like he was hunting someone in the jungle. Right. So I was a bit unsure what the trailer was straight away, but then when he came onto the screen, I was like, oh, this should be a Spider-Man thing. So I had an idea. But I hope he's not like the main bad guy, because a lot of Spider-Man games have like multiple bad guys as you go through the game. But
I think there's always like it looks like he will be the main one, but there will be other ones, because I'm sure
we saw the lizard in the trailer, and if the symbiote's in it, I assume that Venom will be in it at some point.
They've shown Venom in that actually, and even in the Xbox press conference, actually, I can't remember who it was exactly. I think it was the developer who came on, and he spoke, and he was questioned about Venom, saying, what is this Venom, and who is Venom that we're seeing in this? Is it Eddie Brock? And he said, no, it's not Eddie Brock. It's a completely new Venom. So that's going to be quite interesting. Yeah.
I think Green Goblin will be in it, because in the this is silly this now because this
Go on, you
first
can drop
game's
spoilers
quite
to me
old.
for the first. You can drop spoilers for the first game. It's a Spider-Man game. I know all the Spider-Man villains practically anyway.
Right. Okay. So in the first game, right, it's hinted it right at the end that Harry Osborn's going to be Green Goblin. Right at the end, it's like a after credit scene in the first game where Harry Osborn is in a tube, like getting healed, like at Oscorp because he's sick, and it does say through the first game that he's ill, how he got ill and stuff like that. And then in the second one, even in that trailer, it mentions like Harry and stuff like that, like slightly. So I'm hoping that Green Goblin is in it because he's one of them classic characters. I just don't know
Seems like a
whether it's going to be.
no-brainer if they've already dropped the teaser, haven't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. So we'll just have to see who else is in it though as well.
I'll be looking forward to playing as Miles Morales because I played the game Miles Morales. I genuinely loved that game. I thought it was incredible. And
he had some interesting powers compared to like the normal Spider-Man powers.
See, I didn't know too much about it. I've seen the Spider-Verse, the first one, and that's the most I've known of Miles Morales, where obviously he gets his invisibility. And I think he gets some electricity stuff in that. I can't remember exactly. But in the game, obviously, he does have these electric powers. And even in the Spider-Man 2, it looks like he's got more
upgraded slightly.
powers.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I mean, they had to do something with him. They had to do something with him because the first Spider-Man game is, I wouldn't say it's very long, but it's quite lengthy, where you can finish Miles Morales, the story anyway, in one sitting if you want. It is shorter than, depending on what kind of one sitting you're doing, but you can finish it a lot quicker than you could the other ones.
Well, I actually got all the achievements on it, so the platinum trophy or whatever they'd call it. On
you started a new game plus.
I did, yeah. I've got everything on it, and that took me less than 30 hours. So that's
yeah. So you can finish it quite.
It kind of says it there, yeah. It's a fun game. Like. Well, so what else did we have? We had
on the PlayStation 1, or are we looking at Xbox now?
We'll go for any at this point because they kind of merge into one or whatever. They had, what's that? Helldivers.
Helldivers. Yeah, so Helldivers 2 is coming out. Helldivers 1's already out and I'll give it a go. But I played that years ago, the first Helldivers. I played it in one of our friends' bedrooms. It was one of them co-op games that you can play together. It wasn't nice. Online and that. It was just, but it was a long time ago. So I'm surprised they're bringing a new one out like after a certain amount of time.
Kind of looked to me like Gears of War Halo co-op. It's like a bit of a combined of all of them.
So I'm not too sure why the first one's you play it top down slightly, not like a full top down, but like roguelike type. You've got four like people on the screen, and you run about.
Yeah. Oh, like all the old superhero, like Lego games, in a way.
Similar, yeah, like Lego games. Yeah. So, but I'm not too sure if they're going to upgrade it a bit with the new one.
Yeah, so I just for the viewers and listeners, I'll kind of give a quick read of what IGN would refer to this game as. We got confirmation of a sequel of the 2015's Helldivers, the co-op action shooter from Arrowhead Game Studios. The sequel appears to maintain much of the satirical, I can't even read, elements of the original trailer, kicked off with comedic television adverts. Plenty of gameplay was shown with frantic third-person shooting with tons of biomes. The game's coming to PlayStation 5 and PC this year, but from what we gathered, it does look like a bit of just a co-op shooter. It might be fun with your mates. I'm personally not really too fussed or over the moon about this. I didn't play the first one, so it's
because of the trailers, the way it started. I really thought it was a Starship Troopers game. I got a little bit excited, and then it wasn't, and I was disappointed.
Just while we're at the end of the PlayStation while we're kind of coming to the end of the PlayStation conference and section, the VR had a big section in it, which we kind of knew because obviously we got the PSVR 2, so we thought something would be coming from that. And to me personally, it actually made me want one. I'm not going to get one anytime soon because it's VR, and I still feel like VR probably has a long way to go. But it feels like it's made leaps and bounds, especially we're looking at the Resident Evil 4 remake. That looked very good.
It looked like we were just playing. It looked like we were playing the game without any issue.
Yeah,
Like,
there was lots, wasn't there?
so I did make a list of what we've got. Resi 4, Arizona Sunshine 2, which is another zombie survival one. Crossfire was coming onto VR as well. And then there was, I think, if memory serves, there was Synapse as well. I couldn't really remember if Crossfire and Synapse were right after each
yes.
other.
Oh yeah, they were in the same sort of PR. Well, they were in the same reveal section, but Crossfire Serious Squad, I thought that looked really good for a VR game.
For a VR game, yeah.
It looked very in depth for. Well, obviously, with a VR game, you're not going to have the same texture and level of graphics as a regular game because they need a lot more for the whole 360 movement. They just need so much to it in the development stage. But it looked really good and the graphics looked amazing and it looked like you could be really immersed with these games. So PSVR 2 is upgrading and it does look good. I can't really say much more on it because I've not got a VR. I've never been a VR guy. I've never really played one, to be honest with you.
I've avoided the VR too, but that's because of my experience with the first VR. Where
I have heard the VR 2 is a lot better.
It depends on how many cables there were. I just with the first one,
oh yeah,
there were so many cables. It was ridiculous. Where is if the second one is just like the machine will plug into your PS5, like, and then if it's all like wireless remote and headset, then it'll and maybe they can't wireless the headset because of what it is, but they could at least have the remotes like wireless.
One of the biggest critics they had actually was on the PSVR 2 that they didn't have like proper like built-in headset or anything like that. They had no sound, so people had to use these crappy little wired earphones that go with it and obviously connect to your controller or whatever you're using to actually play it, and apparently the sound quality just wasn't very good. And in the PlayStation conference, they did announce brand new
they brought new headphones,
didn't
they? Like new AirPods. They're basically just Apple AirPods, but with a PlayStation symbol on the side.
No, they should have just done that a long time ago. Like even these AirPods I've got in my ear right now, I got these from a TikTok advert for £2. Fake Lenovo ones. They advertise as Lenovo, but I'm pretty damn sure they're fake. But they do the job, and I just don't get why they couldn't even just include a pair of something like this with a PSVR 2, which is costing you hundreds of pounds. I feel like that is very, very stingy of them to do. But they're trying to they're just trying to correct the mistakes by releasing another pair, which is going to cost a bomb most likely.
Oh yeah, they'll be expensive.
Yeah, speaking of the new tech, they're trying to get into the handheld game again, but not with a physical console, with a control pad with a screen. Yeah, well, it's actually not even cloud gaming. That it's which is what I thought that it was going to be cloud gaming.
That was their release, wasn't it? It was cloud gaming, and then it showed showed cloud gaming, and then it showed the controller with a screen.
Yes, well, the controller with the screen, it's more of like it'll be better than cloud gaming because it's basically playing your PS5 on this controller with the screen. So obviously it'll be you'll be able to access it with your Wi-Fi in your house and stuff like that. It's more of a remote play rather than cloud streaming in a way. But that's dumb. to me. I think that's daft because how much is a PlayStation 5 control pad just standardly these days? If you wanted to
50,
go out and
60
buy
quid.
one, they're probably about that 60 quid. So what they're going to charge for this? They're probably going to charge about 150 quid for it. And what's the point? Who's this for? Is anybody actually going to want that?
I know, yeah. If you're going to play your PS5, you might as well just play it at home. No
That's
one,
what I mean.
like...
And
I
if
mean,
you're gonna,
even this sounds counterproductive, but you've got the Steam Deck, the Switch, and now your new one.
yeah,
But you've got a PC. You can play all the games on your actual telly. How often do you play handheld? Because this is what the question is. If someone bought the handheld version of the PS5 with their new thing, how often would you play it, or would you just put the PS5 on?
for me it was circumstantial. So in my old house, obviously, people, some regular viewers of my channels might realize I'm in a different room. I have moved house just a few months back. But in my old house, I played my Steam Deck a lot. And that's because my kind of office / games room was out of the way and it was a small room and it got hot. So I didn't want to be sat there on like a hot day or anything playing a game and not enjoying it, where I could take my Steam Deck out and I'd be in the front room where I could still be with the kids and the family and just actually playing games and enjoying it, or I'd lie in bed and play it. In this house, I do not play them as much. I dabble on my Steam Deck, and I've got my ROG Ally, which I don't. Like I said, I've not even played it properly yet. So it is definitely circumstantial. If I had one of them PlayStation, if I had a PlayStation 5 and I had one of them controllers in my old house, I probably would play it. But the fact that you can get a Steam Deck these days for like 350 quid, I just don't see how, like, what they're going to do, because they're probably going to be like 200 quid, these PlayStation ones. And I'd much rather have something with physical hardware where you don't have to be connected to a stable internet. You don't have to be doing all this. Like, I go to meetings sometimes, and I'll go to a meeting and I might be there an hour early. So I've got an hour where I've got to sit in the car and do pretty much nothing. There, I played the Steam Deck. In fact, last time I played,
You don't need it. You don't need the internet for that either, do you? Because you can just, it's on the hard drive of the Steam Deck, where with
that's the thing.
with
It is full
with the
on.
cloud one, it's streaming
Yeah.
it. You've got to stream it all the time. So
Yeah,
unless they give it a tiny hard drive for like one or two games, then it's still not as good as, because even with your Switch, with the Switches, you've got, it's not a full hard drive, but it's a memory card.
play
You get a
offline,
5. Yeah, you can play offline. Yeah.
Well, that's the same question, really, isn't it? Even if they do bring it out with 150, instead of even comparing it to something like the Steam Deck, which is double the price of a Switch, but there's Switches these days, which is, you can if you want to pick up a Switch secondhand, you can pick them up dirt cheap. You can pick them up for about 80
Yeah, you
quid,
can do, yeah.
roughly. If you wanted to pick up a Switch brand new, you can probably pick them up for about 140 quid, roughly. Obviously, the OLED models will be more money, but still, if you're essentially buying either a control pad or a full gaming console. It just depends on what the person needs. And for me, that PS control pad thing just seems pointless.
I think they're just trying to give people something to give them something. Because Xbox, if we can switch on to Xbox slightly,
Yeah, go on. We'll zoom onto Xbox.
They do cloud gaming, and if I wanted to now, I could get my phone, put on the Xbox Game Pass app, and I can connect my controller to my phone and start playing.
Can I ask you a question though, Lewis? What's your experience with that like? Have you ever tried it?
So in my house, it's fine because I've got a stable internet. When I'm having my medical treatment, I've tried it, and a couple of times it's been fine, a couple of times it's not. It does very much depend on the internet quality and how stable the internet level is.
You see, at home,
I've never tried it out and about though. How you say you sit in a car for an hour
on the train. Yeah.
there's no point in my life where I'm just sat in the car for, for half an hour waiting.
Yeah.
I don't have the chance to try it.
Yeah, fair enough. But for me, I've only ever tried it in my house just to test it out on my internet, which is reasonably good, and it's rubbish. It's for me, it's rubbish. I don't know whether it's more targeted to like Americans, where in America I know the internet level
They've got
is
loads more internet, don't they?
yeah, it is like
Don't they
stupidly
get up to like
past.
gigabytes and stuff like that of internet where
I
we're still
think
on
so.
MB?
Well, like just to put for any listeners, if you are in like different countries, just to put it into context, me and Lewis do have reasonably high internet for our areas and where we are, and roughly we probably both get about 300 MB download speed, and that is considered pretty high
Good.
in the UK.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, especially
Well, I
in
think
our areas.
over in the US, from what I understand, they can get up to like a gigabyte download speed or higher, depending
Yeah,
on
I
which
remember
part of
watching
America they're in.
a Linus Tech Tips video. I remember doing a speed test, and it was like the circles went straight up, and it was like past like 999 MB and stuff. I'm like, bloody hell, what is going on here? But yeah, so for the UK, I don't feel like cloud gaming is even
It's
much
not
of a
possible
thing
right
at the
now.
moment. Yeah, it's probably just
Even
about
stream
possible.
gaming, like on the PlayStation Pass, you can stream PlayStation 3 games,
Hmm.
but even that's not fully doable. Sometimes it has to buffer and stuff. Last time I tried to play one.
Right. Well, while we're talking about the Xbox, well, we'll kind of we'll leave PlayStation in the dust at this point because that pretty much was all the end of the PlayStation conference. So we'll kind of give you a bit of a skim over the Xbox Summer Showcase. The first game they shown, I believe it was the first game they shown, was Fable, wasn't it? Which we were
It
actually
was,
talking about
yeah, it
on the
was Fable.
podcast, and we both kind of. You mentioned that you were looking forward to it, and I was thinking, is that ever even going to come out? And it's thundering outside. That's fun stuff. I was
Do
thinking
you
of
know what? We only
skateboarding
live
today.
15 minutes away from each other, but it's not raining at my house yet. Oh, it's
Oh, it could
raining, but
be.
I don't have the thunder.
Oh, you might get it soon. But yeah, the Fable. How did you? It was announced with the. I don't know the guy's name actually. The IT crowd guy. Do you
Yeah,
know his name?
yeah. But no, but I'll find out for you
No,
because
it's
it
all
really
right.
annoys me that I can't remember who it is. Cast. There we go. Richard Iowadi. That's his name.
Ah, well, I know you are a fan of Fable. I'm not massively a fan of Fable. So how are you feeling about this? Did you get any good feelings from this reveal or the trailer?
So it was. The thing is, we got the trailer to say, yeah, we're having it. It's a new Fable game. It's just called Fable, so it's not like Fable 1, Fable 2, or whatever. It's just called Fable. So I wasn't really. Um, yes, I'm looking forward to playing a new Fable game, but there wasn't much to it. It was just English actors and sort of like a bit
Letting
of
you
the
know
style.
Fable's Fable.
Letting you know Fable is coming out and it still keeps to the Fable roots, sort of thing. And that's the sort of trailer we got.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm looking forward to play it, but we weren't given too much info on it. It's basically there's a new Fable game out. It looks like it's staying a Fable game. There you go, and and
Oh,
the
that's good.
it's all it's going to be like a British cast as well. So it is basically just staying the way it is.
Do you feel it's going to be something that you will get as soon as it comes out, or are
I
you
will
not even
use
excited?
night. So this will bring us on to some of the other releases. A lot of the releases that are coming out as Xbox exclusives are going straight to Game Pass. So it might just be that
That is true.
I can
Yeah.
we could all play it. With, like it might just be like when it's out, I'll be like, oh, Fable's out. Let's download it. Off we go.
Xbox Game Pass is phenomenal, really. All these games that they are actually just coming out and games come straight to Game Pass and stuff. It's
Like there was
incredible.
loads.
It's
Like
very.
I'll get my list up because I did make notes of them. Um, so, for example, Fable will probably come out on Game Pass.
It will,
What else?
yeah. Well,
Persona. They're
obviously the
doing
big one.
Payday 3 is coming straight to Game Pass. Um, that there was a game that was like an online game called 33 Immortals. That's coming straight to Game Pass. They're remaking Persona 3 for up to date. That says it's going to be straight to Game Pass. And loads of stuff that came up all came out as straight to Game Pass games, which I thought was fantastic. Forza, the new Forza game's coming out in October. That's straight to Game Pass.
Can we talk about something that I've only just realised? I don't know why it just popped into my head right then when you were talking about the different games on the list. Pal World. Do you know when that was introduced? And he said it's basically Pokemon with guns.
Yeah.
Do you not feel like that's something he shouldn't be saying? I'm sure Nintendo won't be happy about that. Advertising a game.
I don't. When was that? When was that trailer?
They had the trailer out. Well, they've shown it years ago, but this time it was actually on the summer showcase. I know you. You only watched the highlights, didn't you? But Pal World is what's his name now? Geoff Keighley, I think his name is. When he announced it, he said it's basically Pokemon with guns, and I kind of thought, hang on a minute. Can you say that? Is Nintendo not going to be pretty peed off about that?
Probably. Someone will have said something. I'm just looking for it now. It says release date. It says Pal World reveals release date announcement trailer progress towards Steam early access on January 2024. There you go.
Yes,
early access on Steam. Well, that means that doesn't give it a console release date. That just gives it a.
Well, it's Xbox. It's Xbox and PC exclusive, I believe.
Right.
So PS5 users will be a bit out of luck on that. It sounds interesting though.
Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit of a shit.
It's the way he just. Is it just the way he just? Is it just the way he went? It's basically Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, pretty much. And I just, I didn't know how I felt about that. I can imagine the Pokemon
Pikachu running around with an Uzi.
That's basically what it looks like. We'll just have a quick look at. I've just seen there, something I completely forgot on mind, is the brand new Xbox Series S with a 1 terabyte storage, and it is black.
So,
okay, it looks good, but it's $350. What is the point?
So the point of it is, and it sounds silly, but even Phil Spencer in the video did say we've been listening to fans, blah blah blah. They want something with more storage because the Series S has only got 500 gigabytes of storage. So they said, right, we'll upgrade your Series S and you can have a 1 terabyte Series S.
Oh, well, $350 though. Like, it's kind of I don't know. I get it. Storage isn't cheap. It isn't free. Like,
I went looking. I went looking for one of the Xbox Seagate internal memory card things that they'd done, and they're £200, and it's an extra terabyte. Now I get an extra terabyte is a good lot of memory, and it will count as an SSD, not external. But it's £200, and
it shouldn't be that high. It should be like.
Have you seen
him? 150. I have seen him. I know what you mean. It's like a little card. It's an external.
There's a slot in your
cartridge.
Xbox.
Yeah.
There's a slot in the back of the Xbox specifically for it. Like you just slot it in, and it gives it an extra 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, whichever one you buy, internal storage. Which nowadays,
I've never looked into, but I'm sure they'll probably do it somewhere. There's probably companies out there that sell just like the caddies for it, like a little bit of a, which is basically that slot which is blank, and you could probably put your own little SSD inside it, which hopefully there is
I
companies
never
that
really
do that,
thought
because
about it like that.
that would be a very cheaper way of doing it, because you don't always need a terabyte. What did I get now recently? Not recently, but it was on Black Friday sale. I got a 2 terabyte SSD for my computer for £80. And that's 2 terabyte. And then the Xbox
Yeah.
selling 1 terabyte for £200. It's a bit.
I think it's
They know
because of
where
what
they're
it is.
ripping people off on the
It's a
money.
little.
Yeah.
It's because of what it is. Like, I'm not too sure what it is in a PC. Never broke down a PC.
It's because they've made it so you can't use anything else other than that. So it's their way of making money, which I get. And obviously they advertise Game Pass heavily, and this is a way for people to play. They know it's digital. They know people want to play digital games. People are not going to have the best internet.
They've cut off their nose to spite their face, really, because they've made it so expensive that people can't buy it unless you, or maybe not can't buy it, but are hesitant to buy one. But then they've also made it so good, like the gaming experience, that you sort of do need one. Because if you just, let's say you're an Xbox player and you only play the Game Pass games, you have to install them all. But not only that, the newer games, the Xbox Series S or Series X games, and you know this because it's happened to you, they have to be on the internal storage. They can't be on an external storage. When you try and play it, it asks you to swap it to the internal storage. So there's a lot of games now that you will have to start moving or deleting games to play the newer games because they have to be played on the internal storage.
It will probably work on external storage if your external storage is fast enough, if it's an SSD, but like you were probably using a mechanical hard drive, which isn't up to scratch.
No, that's right.
They are slow compared to, obviously for most games you won't notice much of a difference, maybe a little bit longer on the loading times, but like not an unbearable difference. But for the way they perform, I think it's so, because they'll have things like more real-time rendering where it renders while you're playing it and more things load while you're playing it, and the hard drive won't be able to keep up on that. Kind of like, do you know when you play an old Grand Theft Auto game on the PlayStation 2 and stuff, and then you're driving and walls just spawn in front of you? And,
it's to stop that,
that's like the render distance.
I get like that. Yeah.
And obviously with games and graphics these days, the amount of like polygons and stuff that they actually put into that, it is impressive, and I kind of get why
I get that.
Need extra memory, but they shouldn't be charging so much money. And $350, I personally think that's bizarre, because I picked up my Xbox Series S for £100, and I can pick them up cheaper. I've literally been offered one recently for £70, and I know I can get them for around £100. That's the average price in my books for a used one. And I just think $350 just seems ridiculous. But obviously, different strokes, different folks. I'm sure people will want it, people will buy it. But it just seems a shame, because it's like, how much more is it for an Xbox Series X? Like,
£100. So
is it?
Let's say
it's got to be down quite, surely. Surely it's cheaper now.
When you look up for a brand new Series X, it's £400, I think. Pound, not dollars. Obviously, I think they're the same though when you're actually looking to shops.
Oh yeah, you're completely right. I'm looking just to give out the users an average estimate price here. It's like £450 in the UK from like most sites like Argos, Vary.
Is that as a bundle though? So you're not just getting the machine though?
No, that's Xbox Series X one. No, that's a 1 terabyte console. That's the price for it, $449.99, and that's Amazon. That's what comes with it. Console only. Is that console only? Not even with a complete control pad?
No, you'll get it'll be console cables and control.
No,
it'll be everything.
that's console only. That's console and the thing is, it's not with a control pad.
Where's that?
Is that? That's Amazon. That's the Amazon.
When it says
Microsoft Store selling refurbished for $420, but still, that's. What's this site? Very. console only, Game Pass Unlimited, edition. Oh right, no, sorry. I think it will come with a control pad, just not an additional control pad. But
Yeah,
either
so
way, 450
if you
quid.
buy a brand new Xbox Series X in the box, controller, all the cables, plus one console controller and all the cables.
Yeah. Well, still 450 quid, and I'd rather pay the extra 100 quid than
Get a
to get
Series
one of
X.
them rather than. So I just feel like it's not that much of a difference, and it's not really fair. I feel like the Xbox Series S is supposed to be the more affordable option, which it is in the UK. It is. I'm sure it's like £2. Sorry, £200. £2. Imagine. Yeah, I'm just typing it now. £250 is for a regular Xbox Series S. Like,
So they're charging
and
an extra 100. Wait, if it stays the same, it'd probably be about 350 pound for the new one.
yeah,
So they're charging you an extra 100 quid for an extra 500 gig worth of memory
exactly. And at that point, you may as well pay
and a
the
new
extra
machine.
100 quid and get a. Yeah, it's just silliness. Is there anything else that caught your eye on this showcase? I know they had
There
the.
there
Go
was the
on.
Star Wars Outlaws that I quite like. Now I'm a big Star
Ooh,
Wars fan, and we did
yeah.
mention about the Star Wars Survivor and Fallen Order before, but this one from the trailer looks like they've took a different turn on it. They're not even using like the Jedi and Sith storylines.
There
It's
was no lightsabers in the trailer
There
at
was
all,
no
was there?
lightsabers in the trailer. No, now they might turn up at some point in the game, like,
Yeah.
but from the trailer, it was you, the character, and you're in a bar, and there's a scene where you escape the bar and start running. And from the slight bit of trailer for gameplay we got, it was all blaster play with shooting and what do they call it when you've got like Gears of War where you pop up from the cover mechanics? That's the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was
The
cover and
peekaboo.
shoot mechanic, yeah, peekaboo style shooting and gameplay. Um, and Ubisoft are making it, so it should be on a decent level. I'm not going to say it's going to be fantastic because Ubisoft are either they never got a bad game, but they've never had like amazing games. It's just going to be good. Do you know if that makes sense?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like controversy around this. People were worried that it's Ubisoft. And like, oh no, Ubisoft's making it. Assassin's Creed's rubbish. But Assassin's Creed's not rubbish. I really liked, like we said before, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. They are stunning games, and there's a lot to them. And I feel like having a Star Wars game where it's not it's not about the gimmicky of having a
So,
lightsaber and having
yeah,
lightsaber
yeah.
battles. It's about exploring the world of Star Wars, like the actual galaxies and what there is and what there is to offer, and seeing the different. It would be nice to have a more of an in-depth look for the different guns, because obviously if it's a shooter, you're going to have different guns. You're going to have guns to choose from rather than a gun being called Blaster. Like,
Yeah,
we
so
want to know this will be a
in
Blaster MX42. You want to know a bit
well,
more
if
about him.
there are different types now in Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the 2005 one, the more modern one.
The modern one.
You can unlock different blasters and pistol type blasters and rifles and stuff, and they do have different names. So we'll have to see what they come up with. But what it looked like, not like it won't be Assassin's Creed style. I think it'll be more like, if anything, it's going to be a mix of Star Wars Fallen Order type with Breakpoint. What's the Ghost Recon type shooting that you would get, because Ubisoft do a lot with Ghost Recon and
Right, okay.
Watch Dogs. Do you remember what like Watch
Well,
Dogs and
I've
stuff
never
like that?
played
That's
Watch Dogs, to be
Ubisoft.
fair. No. It's on my to play
Watch
list,
Dog,
Watch Dogs 2.
Watch the new Watch Dogs game had fair decent like mechanics, so it'll be a mix of sort of what Ubisoft does. We'll just have to see what it is. I'm looking
I
forward to it, maybe because it's a
I
Star
did see
Wars
an
game.
article that referred to it as Red Dead Redemption 2, mixed with Star Wars, which I can
I'd be
kind of see
for
where they're
that.
coming from on that. Yeah, and I'm happy for that because Red Dead Redemption 2, I loved it. I know it was slow for a lot of people, and many people didn't complete it. I know you've probably not completed it, have you?
No, I'm not.
You
I
know,
didn't.
that's the thing. Loads of people didn't bother completing it, and
I know the
I can
story though.
see.
Like it's got to the point where it's been out that long. I know the story. Like I know what
Yeah, well,
happens.
I can see people's things, and I installed it recently. I did play a little bit of it, and I was enjoying it, but I did uninstall it because the memory is really high, and it is something I didn't want to get too captivated into again. But as for a Star Wars game, I feel like the freedom of Red Dead Redemption 2 in a Star Wars world would be something phenomenal. Like you can see him on the
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
They were riding one of them, what they call a speed racer.
yeah.
I don't know what they're
They
called.
got onto a speeder bike outside of a bar and just went off, didn't they? They didn't like. They just went off. In the
Yeah.
trailer, they showed that it has a wanted system as well, similar to like Red Dead Redemption and GTA. It'll flash wanted on your screen, and you get I don't know if you get
Oh,
stars,
I didn't
but
notice that, but
the,
that's cool. Yeah.
it'll come. They'll like the whoever's the local force, whether it's the Empire or whatever, will start chasing you.
Local force.
It
I
depends
think
on
that'd be
what planet
cool.
you're on
Right?
in Star
Yeah.
Wars. Sometimes it's the
I
Empire,
know.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's not the Empire.
It would be cool if
Yeah.
they get to. It would be good actually because they got a lot they can do with it. Because they'll get to like I say, like in Grand Theft Auto where you have like star ratings and stuff, and different things attack you at certain things. You get the CIA. You'll get to a level where you'll have like bounty hunters after you, and then you'll have like
Yeah,
different
exactly.
types of bounty hunters and stuff. And that would be good. And there's obviously a lot they can do if they've got the whole world of Star Wars to do, and especially with shows like The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff, where they've gone so deep beyond the movies of Star Wars in the world building, and you can actually see so much, and there's so much to offer. I'm looking forward to it, and I think that's going
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
good.
So am I.
I'm hoping that's going
What?
to be on. I was going to say Game Pass, but it won't be.
Star Wars? No, the Star Wars one won't be.
No, it's
Won't be on Game
Ubisoft, isn't
Pass.
it? So it's
Ubisoft, yeah. It might come on eventually, but there's a lot of Ubisoft games that after a few months go on sale for a good price. Um, I've noticed Ubisoft have a sale, at least on the Xbox store. The Ubisoft have a sale all the time.
mm. I I've just seen something then again that for some reason I completely forgot about. Where Hellblade 2. I never played the first one, but shout out to my friend Aaron Healy, who's a level designer on that game. It does look really, really good, graphically and mentally.
It looks right. So I've played the first one, and I can only play it for about half an hour at a time because they say for the best gameplay experience wear headphones. So I play it with headphones, and after playing it for half an hour, I have to take my headphones off and stop playing. Now, usually I don't need to do that. Usually I can play games for hours and not and I can lose myself in it. But with that one, because of the way it messes with you, the first one anyway, I don't know what the second one's going to do. Probably a similar gimmick, I suppose. Um, you've got voices in your head, or it's in the character's head, but it feels the way that it's worded and the way that it does it, it really messes with your own head as well. Like it's they're having like an argument with yourself, or they say not that way, this way, run, run. They're coming to get you, type thing. It really psychologically, mentally has you on. That's why I can only play it for half an hour at a time.
Yeah, I can imagine that feels weird. Like just for anyone who's listening and never played Hellblade or heard of it before, the game it's basically, from what I've gathered, the main character is struggling with like PTSD, so she's like battling demons in her own head, and where from what I've gathered, it looks like it's hard for her to distinguish what's reality and what's not reality. Am I right in saying that? Is that what you've gathered?
So from what I've played of the first one, as I've only played it for a couple of hours because I have to take breaks because it does mess with my head. Um, it's been out for a while, so I suppose they're not spoilers anymore. You can look it up. You you on the first one at least, you're on your way to Helheim, which is like hell in Norse mythology. To and it, as you go on the way, your inner voices are arguing with you about which way you should go, how you should go about it. There's loads of different voices. Some voices are telling you to go home and not bother. Some voices are set to like there's lots of different voices, and then as you go through, you do have she has visions of different parts of um, realms, whether it's a realm, the reality realm, or if it's part of the North mythology realm, and that's the sort of like fights that you get into. So there is a combat system. It's not a difficult combat system, to be fair. It's I think the game is more focused
More
on
story based.
the experience and the story. Yeah,
The
that's
acting looks
why.
incredible. To be fair, on the main character, the woman, like from, I'm sure she came on stage. I can't remember fully, because it was a couple of weeks ago. But I have seen her in a few things before, like a few kind of interviews about the games and stuff, and she does go full on it in, and she is definitely a good actress. And you can kind of see that. Even the IGN referred to this new trailer for the new one was an unsettling trailer with incredible graphics, and that is
Yeah,
pretty much all that you
probably
can
pretty
really
much
describe
right.
it as,
Yeah,
unsettling. And it does look stunning. So it would be interesting. I'll definitely watch a review on it when it comes out, whether I get it or not. I probably won't, because I've got the first one. I've not played it yet, and it is on
I
the
would
to
like to
try
have finished.
list.
I would like to have played more of the first one before I play the second one.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a few other games like we could mention, like Forza. It'll be just your standard Forza game with better graphics and different cars and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, there was nothing astonishing in Forza for me anyway. It is Forza. You know what you're getting with Forza. Yeah, it's going to be an updated game, great looking graphics,
Yeah,
realistic racing.
they brought out some new Fallout 76 content, which not I bet there's a big following to Fallout 76 now. It wasn't when it first came out, but they keep adding stuff to it, which will be good for those people. And then, as well as Fallout 76, said they'll bring out new Elder Scrolls content this year as well, for Elder Scrolls Online. Really, there was some more other stuff like Overwatch content and stuff like that for all the online games. It was like one after the other for online stuff. And then right at the end, we got a couple more single player stuff. Like they've got Cyberpunk stuff coming out.
Oh yeah, the
Got
what's it called?
they got
Phantom Liberty
yeah they got
DLC.
Keanu to come out to sort that out, didn't they? Again,
You're breathtaking, good old Keanu. Yeah, it's
did you notice in the did you notice that they messed with his voice slightly to make him sound like Johnny from the game?
Oh, did they? I didn't really
They messed with his
realize.
voice slightly to make it sound a bit like off. It was quite.
Right.
I heard it, but I couldn't get my head around what they'd actually done to it. Does that make sense?
A bit like what they've done with Jack Black's voice in the Bowser
In,
movie, like where
a
they've
bit,
done some
yeah,
tweaking to it, but it's
but it's still, yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's
It will
exactly what it
that
was.
it's good that Cyberpunk fans are finally getting like a big DLC, which looks like a new kind of like little game in a
It
way.
looks like it's basically like a second game, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully they learn from
it's,
the mistakes and there's no issues with the
I'm
DLC.
yeah, I'm sure they have. Cyberpunk's kind of got a big reputation now. It's a very loved game. I've not even played too much. I've played a bit of it. Sorry, and when I did play it, I did get captivated, and I do get into it. But then, like you said about other games, when you stop, I kind of stopped, and then I'll try again, then I get into it, and then I'll stop. So I just really need to get
I have
into it.
actually finished Cyberpunk once.
Oh,
Um, well, there's loads
I
of different endings, and I got one of the endings, so I
I
left it
just
at
don't
that.
like all the hacking. I know it's like a big part of the game and stuff, but I really don't like it. And then missions where you're required to hack or solve kind of crimes, or you have to relive people's experience and stuff with the cameras, and that
Oh yeah,
bores
yeah.
the life out of me. I really don't like that, and it puts me right off. So sometimes I play it and I'll play like an hour, and then all I've done is that. And then I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I want to actually do some shooting. I want to get into the
Well,
story. I want to meet some
the
people.
Phantom of Liberty from the trailer looks like it's a lot more action. Like, and
Yeah.
obviously we don't know the story, but Idris Elba has decided to come in as a character, and but from the trailer, it looks like he's out to get you. But I'm not, I'm not too sure really what the story will be. Wouldn't want
I just
Idris
feel like
Elba hunting
you
you
can't
down.
escape him at the moment. He's everywhere,
No,
that
it's
guy.
everywhere. him and Keanu are everywhere.
Yeah. I know we mentioned it in the last episode about the Dead by Daylight, but it was nice seeing good old Nicolas
Cage.
Cage getting on stage. That was
Oh
nice.
yeah,
He did
that
look
was
kind of
nice.
out of it for some reason, though. But he's
He
just an extra.
always looks out of it.
He's an eccentric guy, isn't he? He's just like
Yeah.
he's just. I can't even explain him. He's Nicolas Cage. So that was kind of good to see. Well, I can't really think of anything else that was. I don't know. That was
I'm looking
too
at the list.
surprising, really.
Other than
I'm just
that,
having a quick.
there was
They had the Like a
there was
Dragon, which
Like a
was...
Dragon 2, yeah, which is
Do you know what was funny? Because when that came on, when the
I knew what it
trailer
was
came up,
straight away.
when I was, because I my brain just instantly goes to like random words and guesses words when I'm putting it out. My first thought when he opened his eyes and seen the beats, I was like, Sonic, like, because it reminded me of Sonic Adventure from the Sega Mega Drive, but then it showed the character. Oh right, okay, I get it. It's Yakuza. It's definitely Sega. But it's so funny how I can kind of guess a Sega game, judging back all the way from the Dreamcast era, and like that whole kind of feel to a Sega game. I knew it was Sega straight off the bat, and I quite liked the fact that. But the trailer, yeah, it was basically the dude waking up naked on a beach. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I haven't finished Like a Dragon yet.
I've
I'm
never played it.
I'm about halfway through. Well, it's your standard Yakuza game with all the silliness of a Yakuza game, but it's turn-based combat instead of just combat.
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I might prefer that because
It gives it a bit more. It depends. So it gives it a bit more of a not easier, relaxed feel, because when you play in a Yakuza game, the combat can be quite like dodge here, counter there, like hit, sort of doing the combos and stuff. Where you don't have to do that with Like a Dragon. It's more relaxed.
I might have to give it a go because I've never really played any Yakuza games properly. I've played a bit of Yakuza 0 and I really enjoyed the story and everything.
They're so funny because this is, all the anime tropes that you find in anime as well as like Japanese like cartoons and stuff. There's loads of them in the Yakuza games. Like they're just here, there, everywhere.
I played a good bit of Yakuza 0 and I did enjoy it and I was enjoying it, but what did let me down, it was the combat. I didn't enjoy the combat. I thought it was too standard and too simple.
Yeah.
And that ruined the whole kind of gameplay for me because the whole story and cutscene and stuff was fun. I might just have to get back into it. And as you progress through the game, it might get a bit more challenging.
They're all Yakuza 1 to, I guess, 0 to 6 is all sort of one long story. But Like a Dragon's separate because it's the new character just in the same world.
Right.
Like a Dragon's got, well, as I said, it's a turn-based combat. So maybe
I might give it a go, yeah, because it's a bit more like a
if you're interested, I can't remember what it's called, but they have done a samurai version of it.
Yeah, I've seen that somewhere actually as well. I don't know where.
Samurai Like a Dragon. This is the Xbox.
Yeah, I've
Samurai. Oh, here we go. Like a Dragon Ishin. ISHIN.
Ah. Well, I'll have to check him out if it's turn based. I think I might enjoy it because I'm still playing One Piece Odyssey. I'm playing it very slowly. I'm still in the 1.0 arc, the second kind of arc anyway. So
Not
it's
the one
taking
I
a
like.
while. I don't know what it's called. The one with the
The Water 7
the
bit where
water 7. That's the one. And it is good, and I'm enjoying that. Um,
it is slow going though, isn't it? It's not like you can just run through
it,
it.
yeah, but it's good that I can pick it up whenever. Like
Yeah,
I've got it installed, and I
I
do go on it, and I'm just like, right,
I
I'll
try to
play
play it like sitting there and playing through it. But I think because of the pace that it runs at,
too
you
slow.
can't play it like that. You can't
Yeah,
like I played Final Fantasy 16 from Thursday till today, and I've been able to just play it. It's a nice pace that you can just play and play and play. One Piece Odyssey is not like that. I think because of the pace that it runs at, you can't. I just do it in sections. Like I'll do this bit,
yeah.
then when I've done that bit, I'll do the next bit another day.
I know. Like I feel like an achievement when I've completed an arc. Like when I beat the Alabaster stage, I was like, oof, I can have a break now.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
nice because I know I've got something fresh to come up to, and they've actually just brought out DLC for that as well. Um,
Yeah, that's going to cost
not
a
that I've got
fortune,
to it
isn't it?
yet, so when I get
Is
to it,
it
I might
free?
end up getting it. No, it's not free.
Oh,
But when I get to it, I might end up getting it. But you never know.
no.
I still need to tackle through Kakarot. I'm enjoying that as well, and just
I
after loads
stopped
of
with
DLC.
Kakarot, and I don't know why.
So did I.
Like,
So did I, and we were both playing it together. And we both really enjoying it. We both kind of stopped, and it was like, oh, okay.
but I don't know why I stopped. Like, if I turned it on now, like I would. One, I wouldn't know where I was up to. Um,
It does
and
take about half an hour to get your brain back into the combat for it. Like, because I did try to play it recently, I was like, "What's going on? Why am I getting battered?" And when I was playing it last
because
time, I was getting S on every mission. I was like, right,
it's
and then I got my
it's not
brain
your
into
standard
it.
Dragon Ball Z fighting, is it? You know, like other Dragon Ball Z games, it's not the same. It is slightly different.
Yeah, it's very different, really. Um, before we go on to all these old games, we'll probably end up pretty much get to the end of this podcast by having a little chat about Starfield. Obviously, they had the Starfield direct straight after the Xbox conference.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, I only watched about 10 minutes of it because it's not my game. I'm not a massive fan of stuff like that. But I know you seemed really excited for it, so
I fell in love with it. I watched all 50.
lead the way.
I watched all 50 minutes. It was like a basically 45, 50 minute showcase just on Starfield.
Yeah,
And I know, like you said, you don't like that sort of games. It's basically a mix between it's obviously it's Bethesda, and the two universes Bethesda run at the moment are the Fallout universe and the Elder Scrolls universe. And now they've brought a third one in, which is the Starfield universe. So you've got Elder Scrolls in like fantasy, elves, ogres, and dungeons. Fallout, that sort of nuclear bombs gone off. You've got to survive in a nuclear wasteland. And then Starfield, they're taking it to space. So from the get go, you make your character like you do in the other games, and then what without like going into a lot of it because it was a 50-minute thing and we don't want to be
yeah,
on here for ages. They've taken what you love from games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, and then they've taken little bits from like space exploration games like Elite Dangerous and stuff like that, and other tropes from Star Wars sort of style, and threw it all together. And with Bethesda are really good at making stories and worlds that you can pretty much interact with everything involved in the world. So, for example, something they were saying in the one of the big things they were mentioning in the showcase is the ship that you get to fly around the Starfield universe in. You can buy extra bits for it. You can customize it how you want. You can buy new ships. You can even pirate ships from other people. So
that's cool.
there's a lot of different ship mechanics. You can hire a crew to come onto your ship with you. So it's not just going to be, the ship isn't just for you, it's for you and the crew that you bring along with you. So, and you can have the ship look however you want. If you want it to look like a standard, spaceship from like sort of spaceship style TV shows and stuff, you can, but you can make it look like differently. If you can buy the parts to get it like that, you can pretty much make it look however you want. You can change what the ship's for depending on different bits you buy it for. So if you want to do cargo missions, you can change the ship to have extra cargo areas to fit it in, and all that is all included in just like the spaceship working. They've done a different type of leveling system than they've done before. They've sort of mix and match the leveling system to and perk system to work together. Now, other games
Is
that
it
use
single
this,
player only Starfield?
yeah, it's single player only. Yeah,
Right.
why?
No, just curious because you said about the leveling system, about working together. I thought you might meant like an online thing, because I know like
So
Fallout
no, so like
76
the
and stuff
perk,
is
like
online.
when you level up and you unlock different perks as you level up.
Mm-hmm.
The perks will be to interact with other characters. So I don't know exactly what'll be in Starfield, but as an example, in Fallout, there's a perk called Lady Killer perk where you do extra damage to women, or you get certain conversation things that affect women differently than they affect men differently because of this one perk that you've got, and it'll be and stuff
Lady
like that.
killer.
Yeah,
Literally. Oh
yeah.
gosh.
It looks like, I don't
Kind
really
of
want to
got
give a lot away to people who are not too sure on it, and that I guess it's just the way that you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. I think I'm going to absolutely love it. It's all different, but like yeah, without
so I've seen a lot of like kind of comparisons with that and No Man's Sky. Did he have any like additional planets and stuff as in the kind of similar way to No Man's Sky? Because I know No Man's Sky, like
so
their thing is countless planets and
it's the same
whatnot.
thing. So
Right.
in No Man's Sky, they had when it was first out, they had an issue where because it was procedurally generated, when you went to another planet, sometimes there'd be nothing there and it'd be empty.
Right.
Where in Starfield, they said that you they've looked at this and said this can't happen to us, sort of thing, and they've said like yes, our planets are procedurally generated. However, every planet will have its own sort of ecosystem. It'll have its own this, that, and the other. It'll have its own like background. If you landed there, the system that they're using will make that planet useful for something.
Oh,
If
that's
it's
good.
part, so and you could visit. It wasn't the whole. So No Man's Sky is the whole universe, and the idea for No Man's Sky is to get to the center of the universe. Obviously,
Right.
that's the part of No Man's Sky. There is a story, even though it's very lacking. Um, where in Starfield, don't think it's the universe; it's a galaxy.
A galaxy.
So
Right.
Star Wars is a galaxy. A galaxy's far, far away.
Far, far away.
A galaxy is a collection of solar systems and systems.
Yeah, I catch your drift.
Where Starfield is going to be a galaxy. So you won't. Yes, you'll have lots of planets to explore, but it won't be limitless because it has to stay inside of a galaxy. Where No
Well,
Man's
that's
Sky
good
was
then.
just too big because
Yeah.
it was the universe. Um,
Yeah.
you've got all sorts of different races, so it's not just humans in Starfield. There are aliens because we've got different places to explore. So like in Elder Scrolls, you've got elves, you've got people, you've got werewolves and stuff like that. In Starfield, you'll have the different aliens as well that you can like meet with and interact with. There's several different factions that you can join and interact with. So, like they've brought the world, the idea of Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and then other games that people like, and like sci-fi games, and sort of mixed it together.
So do you have to play as a set character in Starfield, or can you just play as like somebody you make like in the Elder Scrolls games where you can make like some weird like
You make
hybrid?
whatever you want.
Right. Okay. Cool. So it is basically
So
just that. Yeah.
So yeah, so in the trailer it does show you as I think you can play. I think you can only play as a human, but that might be me. That might be wrong. Just in the trailer, they
Right.
showed the creation system as them making a human. But you can in the trailer it did look like you can make them look however you want though. And then there'll be a set story like there is in many Bethesda games that you can follow if you want. But there's loads of memes that about Elder Scrolls games where where it's like the main story or turn left, all the side quests, and that sort of thing. And it
Yeah.
looks the same with Starfield. You could spend hours and hours exploring, doing different stuff, joining different factions, and not even touching the main story for a while. Um,
So is it safe to say when this game comes out, you're going to disappear for a long time? Is
I
it?
wouldn't say I've booked a few days off work to play it already. So
Yeah, there you go. Then.
there's a couple of different. So it's out on the 6th of September. If you pre-order it, you can play it 5 days early, which is a Saturday. It's supposed to come out on a Wednesday. I couldn't get the whole week off. I could only get Monday and Tuesday off. I mean, I'm going to pre-order it anyway, so I'll be able to play it 5 days early. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday that I'll play it, and I'll have to go back to work on Wednesday. It's a
Bloody hell.
while off yet, though. It's in September. You've still got.
Just make sure you shower and make sure you eat.
I will. Playing Final Fantasy, I've showered and ate.
I'm just picturing like the World of Warcraft South Park episode.
Yeah,
It's got a guy playing, and he leans at one side, but then next time he's in a scene, he's just basically leaning at the other side.
He hasn't moved.
Yeah. Well, for this episode, obviously, I feel like we'll do what the Xbox Showcase did and kind of wrap it up on Starfield. And yeah, unless you've got anything else to add to this, I feel like we can call it a day for this episode and catch up with people in a couple of weeks. So from now on, we're going to try and do it every other week for the podcast rather than every week, which is probably beneficial because it'll give us more to talk about and we'll have more time to discuss the games that we've been playing, for example. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll probably have a bit more in-depth from Lewis on what's going on with the Final Fantasy game and how we kind of rate that in a way. So yeah, if you like videos like this, please kind of, give it a like, subscribe, follow, 5 stars on Spotify or Apple, whatever you're listening to it on. I know the Apple isn't working at the moment, and I will tackle that at some point. But yeah, if you're enjoying this podcast, thanks for watching, and cheers for sticking around if you finally made it to the end. Adios.
Bye.